Chapter. It's 6:33 on Wednesday, February 28th. This is a special meeting to receive a presentation from the Toll Brothers, who have a proposal for properties down on Bradley Road that they are contemplating. It's still in contemplation phase. No formal applications have been submitted yet, but we are always happy to hear from folks who are interested um, in our town. And anything else, Chris, I need to formally open this meeting?
Nope, you're fine. And Brian, I did give you the baton, so to speak.
Great. So
Okay.
Brian, great. And Brian, if you would like to introduce your folks and get us started.
Sure. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Great. So I'm Brian Sokow. I'm a land acquisition manager with Toll Brothers. With us tonight are my colleagues, Jack Lanneman and Mike Zamola. Jack is our senior vice president for the Connecticut and New York office. And Mike Zamola is our senior land development manager. Jack, do you want to take it away?
Sure. Thanks for having us. We really appreciate the opportunity to come before you and discuss this. I actually came before this commission exactly a decade ago to discuss this property. We were never able to make a deal, but we're back. We very much want it. So we are under contract to purchase this property. We're currently in our due diligence phase where we're checking everything out. So far, so good. We had a previous meeting with the first select woman and the town attorney, but we wanted to take this opportunity to meet with you all and let you know our visions for what we're thinking and see what you thought. So just briefly, a little quick background on Toll Brothers. We're a Fortune 500 company. We've been in business for over 50 years. We're currently building in 24 states. And 2022 marks the 11th year that we were named to Fortune magazine's World's Most Admired Companies list. And last year we closed almost 10,000 homes across the company. And I tell you all this, not just to toot my own horn, but to make it clear that, we have the resources to fulfill our obligations, to stand behind, what we commit to doing and to finish developments, despite the cyclical nature of the real estate development. And in fact, we offer an industry-leading 10-year warranty on all of the homes we build. We'll go to the next slide, Brian. So we've been building in Connecticut since 1993. I've been with Toll Brothers in Connecticut for 20 of those years. We built over 3,000 homes across the state. We've only built one community in Woodbridge back almost 20 years ago, 21 single-family lot job called Woodbridge Chase. We were around the Country Club property for discussions many years, as I'm sure some of you know. But here we are today on this piece. So if we go to the next slide, I don't know how many of the people in this group were part of the original approval, but as said at the top of the call, the property is bisected by Bradley Road. It's just north of the Wilbur Cross, which I probably will mistakenly call the Merritt Parkway during this presentation, so I apologize. But right sort of in downtown, and it's had an approval on the books for many years. Originally 150 age-restricted units, a mixture of townhomes and condo flats and retail. It's my understanding that another proposal came before you all a couple years ago for a brewery or something. We have no affiliation with that group. So if we go to the next slide, Brian. So what we're proposing to do is greatly reduce the amount of homes that would be built. They would all be townhomes. We call them carriage homes. There are larger attached townhomes. They would still be age restricted. They would still meet all the requirements of the zone. First floor master bedrooms, 2-car garages. It would have a little amenity, a little clubhouse and pool. previously 10 years ago when I came to you with a proposal, it was to greatly increase the density. That's what we needed to do to make the economics of the deal work. The market has improved such that we're now proposing, as you can see, to cut it in half. This plan shows 66. We may actually tweak the unit sizes slightly. It may be, somewhere between 60 and 75, but essentially half of what was previously approved. And the one thing that would really change from the approval that was on the books for the residential development is that it would be sort of centered and fronting on the new roads. So the previous development, the buildings were designed such that some of the front doors and some of the sidewalks and all that were fronting on the existing streets, the surrounding streets. And as I mentioned, there was retail in the middle, then condo flats above. But I think the last decade would show that plan was just not marketable. And we found in the many active adult communities that we built that we need to sort of give them a sense of their own place. And when you enter the community, you have to feel like you're entering something special. You're not going to have, strangers walking by your front door and whatnot. So in this proposal, we would like to consider gating it if that's something that the town is open to. It's not a deal breaker for us, but it would very much be homes that are centering and fronting on the new roads. If we go to the next slide, Brian, I believe we have so this would be a sample of the homes. As I mentioned, they're all first floor master bedrooms. The bulk of the living space is on the first floor. They're designed for certainly older buyers. There's a ability to lock and leave, go down to Florida for some of the buyers. I guess sort of my first question is, what is everyone's reaction to this? It is a different feel, candidly, than what was previously approved. We would like to, put up privacy fencing in the backyards and essentially create, as I said, this sort of pocket community within this downtown area, rather than have it be this sort of community that people could walk through. It wouldn't have retail in it. It wouldn't have strangers passing through it. We certainly would meet all the requirements of the zone. We've read the zone carefully, and we know that we would have to have, very nice sidewalks fronting on all the existing roads. We would have to do, a lot with landscaping and meet with the ARB and so on and so forth. But it's candidly, as I said, it's a different feel in creating this pocket community versus what was previously approved. So,
hey Brian, can I ask you a question on the picture here? Are these 2 residences or 4?
4.
So so I see the 2 front doors right in the middle in the grass, and the other 2 front doors are on the side of each unit.
Correct.
Okay, and then each garage is a 2-car garage.
Correct.
Okay, thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah, I think if we go to the next slide, I believe, so this is 2 plans. They're both 2-story plans. There's one plan on the left side of the page, one plan on the right side of the page. The plan on the right side of the page is an example of one of those end units where the front door is on the side. You would walk around the sort of front corner of the building to the front door. And the last slide I believe we had is just some representative photos of like homes we've built, just showing the level of finishes and whatnot. So in summary, it's like I said, it's about half as many units. It is all townhomes, which we call carriage homes. Still age restricted. Still heavily landscaped. Still walkable to the commercial uses nearby. But it would be what I'm calling a pocket community with privacy screening around the property borders, except for the frontage on Bradley Road.
So the privacy screening, would that go around those 3 single family homes that are on?
Yes. Yes.
So it would just go around the edge of their property. Mhm.
Yes, as well as along, what is that, Litchfield Turnpike? Those would be the backyards of some of the homes.
Mhm.
And the zoning regs do, sort of allow, they definitely calls out that they want the homes to orientate towards the street, but they do allow for the building shall have a well-defined front facade orientated so that the front facade is parallel with the public way. Such public way shall include private roads within the AAPD. So if you also choose to interpret it that way, it seems you're allowed to consider the orientation towards the new roads. And then you're allowed to, with discretion, permit privacy fences over, I believe it's 42 inches, but you have to give that express consent.
So, Jack, hi, this is Rob. Thank you for that presentation, and I definitely want to open it up to questions. The commission is already peppering you with questions, and they should continue to do so. Two quick things from me. I'm not sure anyone who's currently on the Planning and Zoning Commission were here when this was originally approved. I could be wrong, and someone should speak up if I am wrong in that regard. And then second, just so I'm clear, though, this would be when it does eventually come before our commission, you'd be asking for an update or modification to that original approval to now be like this one, or is this a completely new application? I'm just curious.
I'm not sure whether I'm asking for a site plan amendment or a new approval. I believe I'm asking for a site plan amendment. I would want to talk to council about that.
Yeah. And I don't want to put you on the spot with council. I was just more curious. Either path is definitely available. I'm just was curious.
Preferably an amendment.
Hi, Jack. Jack, this is Jeff Kennedy. Hi, how are you? Thank you for joining us tonight. Look, in terms of the wall or the gate that is around the community, how high did you want to make that look? And related to that, if you're on the street, can you see like the second story of the buildings, or does it look like a really high, like moat type wall? How high did you want to make it?
Our thought would be that the backyards of all the homes would have probably something in the vicinity of a 6-foot privacy fence. I'd like to do an 8-foot, but I could live with a 6-foot. And then we would have to do lots of landscape screening as well. We want these to look like they fit in, and we would probably have to put some evergreen shrubs and other trees on both sides of the fence. In terms of what you would see over the fence, you would certainly see the buildings over the fence. These are not large buildings by any sense. They're 2 stories above grade, although the way the roof lines generally work, they almost kind of look like 1.5. The second story is somewhat within the roof. So yes, you would certainly see over the fence, but we found that when we've marketed active adult communities, that they like a sense of security and privacy, and we feel the need to give that to them in their backyards where their decks and patios and whatnot are.
Jack, I think I called you Brian before, so my apologies.
No problem.
So I went on. I keep having to turn my head. So when you make a left onto Bradley from Litchfield Turnpike, kind of coming from the south, there's a horseshoe road, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then on the other side, there's just one road that comes in and out, correct?
Correct.
All right. So my only question, I guess, would be for Chris. Does there have to be another, emergency exit?
There is one shown all the way to the west on the upper side. It comes off that first lollipop.
Oh, you know what? Hold on.
You zoom in.
I see emergency access. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and this is a preliminary plan. It's possible that, on the southern side, we would have an emergency access as well and have one way in, one way out for general use on the north and south sides. I'm not sure.
And on that same note, would you envision at the sort of main entrance, or what I would call the main entrance to both parcels, which are right across the street from each other, would you anticipate having a crosswalk or other sort of areas so folks who wanted to go to the clubhouse from
Yeah, we
on the side
would
of Brandon
very much, like to have a crosswalk. I know the regulations for this zone have very specific requirements for crosswalks about how they have to be made out of different materials, such as pavers or something. We'd even love, I mean, I know that's a public road there. But yeah, we'd like to make the community feel cohesive so that the people on the north side away from the clubhouse feel like they're a part of it and can safely walk to it. Absolutely. We'd like to connect them if there was a way to do that.
Sorry, it's Yoni Zamir. I didn't introduce myself before. And at that entrance, are you envisioning like a little clubhouse or gate or something, that a guardhouse is what I mean, something like that? Screening entrance.
That's not something we've entirely flushed out. We would like to know your feedback. One thing we would have to make sure of if we did have a guardhouse is you need to have more room. If someone pulls in and doesn't get past it, they need to be able to safely exit without backing up into traffic and so on and so forth. So we would have to study that. But it's something we would like to consider if it's something the commission was open to.
Jack, this has zoning now. Did I hear you correct? I might have been incorrect, but 120 units, is that what you said?
I believe it's approved for 150.
Okay.
I'm not.
Was
Chris,
it 138?
138?
Yep.
Okay.
I believe the zoning is 12 units an acre, and we're proposing, I believe, 4.4 units an acre.
And we did say that this was previously zoned for age restrict, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
What was previously approved was a mixture of apartments, condos, and on the north side, townhouses for over 55, with a little bit of retail on the bottom on the south side.
So we would have the same age restriction, far fewer units, and no retail.
And you wouldn't have the height of the buildings that were previously proposed, because on the south side,
Right.
I think they were going to be 45 feet tall.
Yeah, they were large buildings. And when I was previously before this commission, as I said, 10 years ago, I was proposing, I still have the boards from when I came before you. Maybe I'm a hoarder, but they were large buildings as well. These will be substantially smaller.
Kind of a random question, but do you guys ever approach those three property owners of the single family homes that are there, either previously or now? Just not, just curious, really.
I personally, Toll Brothers has not. We were never the owner of the property. I can only assume that the owners have. But no, Toll Brothers has not.
Chris, I was wondering if I could call upon you. Do we have, and I apologize for not knowing this, do we have anything specific in our zoning regulations on gated communities?
Not ungated, no.
Thank you.
So
Andrew or
the question
Kathy?
is, are these private roads then and not public roads?
I'm assuming the ones in the development are being proposed as private.
That was my assumption as well.
So the only thing that I can think of is that they have to be built according to the town road specs. But then they're maintained and plowed and so forth by whatever association is in charge of it.
Right.
So Andrew or Kathy, do you have questions, comments, reactions?
No, I don't have any comments at this time. I think it's a great development that's going to certainly add to opportunity housing. Certainly our survey is demonstrating that people want housing for people to downsize 55 and over. So this certainly would fit that particular need from what the residents are expressing in the survey.
Jack, do you have any idea about the average price point for these units?
Usually hesitant to it. There's a lot of unknowns. I mean, I would guess maybe, starting in the 500s, we may try and do a few more units than what's shown here that are a little bit smaller. We're still studying the market, but that's roughly the price point that we would start at.
And what would be the estimate as to the number of months for completion of construction if the application is submitted and approved?
I anticipate it would probably take us about 2 years to build all the homes. We would have to start working on some of the infrastructure prior to building the first home, so maybe 2.5 years. We generally are not spec builders. We sell homes and then build the home we've sold, so it's somewhat market driven. But we've studied the market pretty carefully, and we think it would take us about 2 years to sell, and therefore 2 years to build.
And we would start with the southern phase with the amenity center first, and then the northern parcel would be the second.
Right. We would like to get the amenity built, earlier in the process, so it's available for use. Any other questions for me?
That's normally my line. Any other questions from commission members? I'm seeing none and hearing none. Any other members of your team?
Mike, any questions you have? I know we would like to meet with some town staff, building department, whatnot, but that we could set that up on our own.
Yeah, I don't have any independent questions, specifically, related to your group at this point. As Jack mentioned, I think we would like to meet with the building department, engineering department, just to understand, from those groups what they would require, fees, inspections, different protocols like that, just as we're moving down the path here.
I just have one question. Are you envisioning sidewalk extension? I know that currently there is sidewalk in front of the commercial development that is to the west of the south side of the property, and I believe also to the the north. Maybe not. No, I'm looking at Google Street View. I do not see sidewalk on that north side. Are you envisioning sidewalk along either side, bordering Bradley Road?
Yes. Okay. We certainly. I think that may even be a requirement in the zone, in the village district. But yes, we would certainly have sidewalks on at least one side of the road, on the existing frontage.
Thank you.
And hopefully connect to that sort of island of sidewalk that is in the property next
So
to
on this particular piece, under the existing approval that's done, there's a sidewalk that would go along the south side on Bradley Road, and then on the westerly side of Litchfield Turnpike, so that it would connect with the existing sidewalk systems and make a complete square going down to Lucy Street, then up Amity and over Bradley. So it would make it a walkable community.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate that.
And just so you know, we don't have an engineering department. I think most of that stuff would be aimed at me.
Very good.
Thank
For
you.
better or for worse.
So any last questions from our P&Z Commission members at this point? I'm seeing none and hearing none. Thank you, is how I'll close this. And I really appreciate getting a look at this development. It's also nice to hear from Kathy that it aligns with the sort of needs of our community, this ability to downsize and stay in Woodbridge and still be a part of our community, though in a smaller house. And I think you've also heard the interest of ensuring that there is the ability to create walkable opportunities down in this district. Aside from that, any last words from Jack or Brian or your team?
No, we appreciate your time. We got what we came for. We were excited about this. We're glad to see you all are positive about it as well, and we hope to see you in a few months' time.
Excellent. Well, thank you for coming tonight. And thank you to planning and zoning folks for finding time. And because I think we get back together again next week at our regular meeting. Is that right, Chris?
Yeah, you do. You have a regular meeting next week.
Okay, so look for that agenda coming soon. And with that, a motion to adjourn.
So
Is that meeting going to be in person or remote, Chris? Do you know?
That's still going to be remote. We have to be 3 weeks in yellow, and currently we're still in orange. So
Okay.
the earliest we might be in yellow is if we turn yellow this week, and then it would be St. Patty's Day that we would be able to start having in person. But it remains to be seen if we turn to yellow this week or not.
Okay.
I think it was moved by Paul. I don't know if there was a second. I'll second it. Thank you, Jeff. All in favor of adjourning tonight, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So the meeting adjourned. Thank you again.
great job, Mr. Chairman.